Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to homework number 2. I'll put the link to this PDF in the video description. So we're going to be writing a log file parser, I guess, and there are 3 files that you can download from the main course website, which I guess I'll link to as well. But anyways, blah blah blah. So we're given a Haskell file that defines some data types. Looks like we have a message that is either an info, a warning, or an error. And the error has it's probably an error code. And then timestamp is alias to int, and we have log message, which consists of a message type and a timestamp, which is just an int and a string. And a log message could also be unknown, and it's just a string. So let's take a look at the actual log file we're going to be parsing. So it looks like the beginning of each line is either an I, a W, or an E, corresponding to info, warning, or error. An info log message has, I guess it would have info as the message type, timestamp, which is this integer here, and then the actual message, which is the remainder of the line. A warning type has the exact same format, except that it's a W instead of an I, so message type is warning. Here's the timestamp, and the rest of the line is the message. And finally, there's one other type, message type, which is error. So error has a message type of error with an error code, which is an integer, and then of course the timestamp and the string. So the function we're supposed to write has this type signature, string to log message. And I don't think I'm going to make it that far in this episode, because what I want to do first is write some simple test cases just to make sure we're parsing this correctly. And they give us 3 little test cases here, so I think I'm just going to use those 3. So, and the file they want us to write is called log analysis. So I'm going to make a log analysis test. So this test file will have a main, and I'm going to be using HUnit. As well as the 2 files, log I'm given, log analysis I'm going to write. So I guess I'll just call the tests test 1, test 2, and test 3. They're of type test. And these are basically each going to be a super simple assert equals. And I have the documentation up here. Assert equal takes a string, the expected value, and the actual value. I'm not interested really in the message output, so I'm just going to leave it as empty string, and this was, again, expected, then actual. So the expected is log message of, oops, you gonna start working there, terminal? Oh, right, okay, here we go. Let's copy that guy. Damn it. Good enough. And the actual is parse message E2 562 help. Okay. Next test. The expected is a log message of type info. Timestamp 29 and message la la la. And that is what the string looks like. And this final one is unknown. Remember that our log message data type has two type constructors. One is log message, the other is unknown. And it just takes a string. Oops, sorry about that. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now that we have our tests written, I'm going to... Oh, and one more thing. Assert equal returns a type of assertion. There is a type... there's a data constructor called test case, which takes an assertion, so I have to wrap each of these in the test case constructor. Boop. And finally, I'm going to call my list of tests tests, and it is a test list consisting of a test with label test1 and function, or test really, test1. This label could be something like, this is the first test. And finally, I'm going to go back to my main method and run the tests and try compiling. Okay, it's not going to compile because I don't have a module log analysis yet. And this has a method parse message. On the scope log message. Okay, this compiles. Try compiling the test again. Misspelled HUnit. Could not match type counts with unit. Okay, that's because this function here, run tests tt on tests, has type IO counts, and main has type IO unit. So this is probably beyond the scope of maybe my viewership here, but I'm going to bind this into the print method, which will print it to the console. Don't worry about that for now, but this compiles, so hooray. So I know for a fact this is not going to work because parse message is defined as bottom or undefined, but what I want to do in the remainder of this video is just clean this up to make it look a little nicer. So although I do think it's always important to include type signatures on every function, no matter how trivial, even main, I think that unit tests are sort of an exception, especially simple HUnit unit tests. So I like to remove the test type signature from the test cases in the test list. And one more thing I can do is use some nifty little combinator type looking functions that HUnit exports. The first one is this infix assert equals, there are two of them, and the order of the equal sign and the question mark is swapped, and it's just that corresponds to the order of the expected and actual. This one is actual and then expected. I don't really know why they included both. It seems to me like they should just stick to a standard. I think the one I usually see is actual then expected, so I'm going to use this function right here. And one thing I like about this is that it doesn't require a string message like assert equal does. I don't really use the string message, so this is perfect. Oh, and another thing is it creates a type, a test type rather than an assertion, so I don't need to wrap it in a test case. So this becomes, and I want to use the actual expected, so I'm going to change around the order of these here. Actual expected, and then I don't need parentheses anymore. Make sure that compiles. It does. Okay, so I'm just going to repeat the process here. Make sure that compiles. It does. And one final one. That compiles, and there's one final combinator that I think I'll use. I don't think combinator is the right word, actually. Operator, excuse me. And that is just a handier way to create a test with a string. This can be used as a shorthand way of attaching a test label to one or more tests. So, looks like that. And it compiles. Okay, and now my test suite is ready to be run. I suppose I should run it. And it fails. So 3 cases tried, 3 cases failed. Alright, thanks so much for watching, and next time I will implement this parse message function.